Thank you, Doc. I'm based in North Carolina, although I have my year, I spend it in different African countries. So I love my time in Africa, absolutely. But right now I'm in North Carolina. Absolutely. Yeah. First of all, thank you for bringing me on your program. I'm honored. Uh, this is the first time we are having a video interaction since we started communicating, and I apologize I could not make it yesterday due to a meeting at the United Nations in New York. I just came back. ICT University is a research and teaching institution focused on human capacity development in the area of information technology, management, public health, education, and in renewable energies, engineering in general. Our other focus is really the developing world, where we've operated in Africa and Asia. In Asia, in particular in India, where we ran one of the largest digital literacy program under then Governor or Chief Minister Modi, who is now the Prime Minister of India. We ran a huge digital literacy program there. We trained hundreds of thousands of Indians in basics of digital literacy. But in Africa, we have our headquarters in Cameroon, and we also operate in other African countries where we have very, very close partnerships. It is one of the most exciting things I think I've done in my career, besides becoming a Christian. Um, and we we want to keep the lead in writing Africa's ICT story. While the Western world may have written Africa's stories in other areas, we will not allow the Western world to write our story about information technology. That is why ICT University exists. It is not just a university, it's a vision, it's Pan Africanism to its extremes, and we don't apologize about it. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that gap was needed to be bridged. I was blessed to finish my bachelor's, master's, and PhD all in 5 years in a very short time. So I got my PhD at a very young age and became a full professor at a very young age also. And my time in America, I appreciate it. I appreciate how America has packaged me to be the person I am. And I've had some great mentors like Professor Terry Bird, who was at the time the only African American professor at Auburn University. He really mentored me and continues to mentor me very well. And one thing he instilled in me as a black man was to be proud of who I am and to know that it doesn't have to be white in order to be right. And thank goodness for him, I've come to see how true that is. Because he's my example. He's my example when it comes to academia, the world I live in. He told me when I came to him to supervise my PhD, he said, "Victor, I know nothing about Africa. However, I'll teach you information systems research, and you will teach me about Africa." Because him and I wanted to do something that will add value to Africa. So they don't, when people talk about Africa, they don't only look at Africa like a place to go and visit animals. Most people in the Western world, when they want to go to Africa, they're going for safaris, as if that's all we have. And I'm telling you, Gideon, when going through at a very young age and as a black man, as an African, through US universities, I've taught at majority white universities, and I've taught at a majority black university. The racism is terrible. Very. I am at East Carolina University, great school, but you have administrators that are extremely racist, and I talk about it all the time. These guys, I don't know whether they grew up seeing black people hung off trees or what. I don't know, but some of the administrators are so racist. The students are wonderful, excellent students. I saw this racism in many, many different places. Or you go to black universities, you have black people that are just practicing all kinds sorts of xenophobia against Africans. It's common. So I looked at myself. I said, "What's the solution? Do I keep complaining? No. I'll keep enjoying doing what I'm doing because I love my students, but I will spend my time also serving the continent of my birth, which is Africa, and in the area of information technology, because it is not these white folks that will come and change our narrative or change what. Sorry, you're right. Our circumstances. We have the brains, and thank God we have the means to invest and make that change because we can make all the noise we want. If you don't have the money, you cannot do it. All kinds of stories. So bridging that gap, it's easy for me to say, let's ship technologies to Africa and you bridge that gap. No, it has to be backed by the knowledge, by the financial, by the human resources. That is what ICT University is building through its educational presence, but even more so through bringing in funding from our consulting projects all over the world. I'm very passionate about this. And let me tell you the good news. We have bridged the digital gap in Africa. Some people try to argue with me because people just want to make Africa look so backwards. The fact is, when I wrote my first book 20 years ago on teledensity, which is the number of telephones per 100 people, in Africa, it was less than one phone for 100 persons. Now it is very common in all of Africa to see people owning more than one phone. One person to a phone is very common. I mean, it's no pride to tell a person that in Africa I have two phones. Too many Africans have two phones. But if I read, I don't even want to read that book I wrote because it has completely changed. If I was to rewrite that book today, it would be a different story. So we have information technologies all over Africa. Our next stage is how do we build these technologies ourselves so we can bring down the cost? How can we get smartphones in Africa for 40,000 francs, right? For 60, $70 a phone. Instead of what Africans are spending up to $1,000 to buy phones, $500, $600 to buy laptops. We want to do it ourselves. And you'll be hearing an announcement in the next 1 year where we'll be promoting on the ground manufacturing of information technology resources. Now, remember, I said it needs money, not just talking. We can do all the we want, and we are investing the money in it. That's my view of bridging the digital gap. Huh? Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, yeah, yeah. It's two major aspects. One, I became a Christian at the age of 16, and I had a complete turnaround in my life. And God caught me at a very good age before I had started getting really bad, getting involved in smoking, all kinds of bad things, drinking, and at the bad age of 16, I accepted Christ in my life, and He changed everything about me. And the blessings I'm enjoying today is largely due to those early stages. And then I started the very very popular movement in Christian movement in Cameroon called Cameroon Youth for Jesus that is still existing to this day, and it's all over and it's still working, bringing many to the Lord. Number two is my dad and my hero, Mr. George Barika, who I'm honored to have him right here in my house right now. Going to spend a few weeks with me, and I'm going back with him in about 2 weeks. I grew up to see him work for the government, but on the side, he was running his own printing press and ran a very, very successful business that exists to this day. One of the oldest private printing presses in Cameroon, owned by him and the late SN Tita. Um, yes, yes, yes. So he is a mover and shaker in the printing sector in Cameroon, and I was blessed to grow up in this type of. I can't sit here and lie that oh I grew up poor, then look at what has happened. I don't have that nice story which many people tell. I don't have that. The fact is, I grew up middle to upper class, but I still took advantage to learn how my dad got to where he got to through Christian faith, his hard work, and family, of course. And I learned a lot from him. I still learn a lot from him. Um, to be able to do the things I'm doing today, knowing that you can never make your life if you want to be wealthy, you can never do that by only working for other people, right? You must do things for yourself, even if it's on the side. And my goal has never been to be wealthy, huh? Because I've never lacked in my life because God blessed me with a father that worked hard, so I should never lack. I have never wanted to do something that I did not do because the money was not there. I don't have that sweet story. I don't have that story of I entered America with $50, but now I'm a millionaire. I don't have that story. And so my story is not that interesting, but that is really who I am. Yes, absolutely. Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. It Tenembeng to be specific. Yeah. I like that. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Mhm. Yes. Okay. Yeah, first of all, you just mentioned Professor Chumbo. I want to give a shout out to him. He's an amazing man. Uh, he did, he, yeah, he's been like a father to me. Many people know of him with him and I working at ICT University, but Professor Chumbo knew me since I was 10, 11 years old. So he's known me for since I was a child. So I look up to him in many, many things. We use the US curriculum for one simple reason. That is the academic training I received. My entire bachelor's, master's, and PhD are all in American institutions. And I love the American style of education because of its flexibility, where they focus on you completing a given body of knowledge, as opposed to you would hear in the European or the French system, it would say back plus deux, back plus cinq. Well, the American system does not focus on the number of years you spend. It focuses on you completing a certain body of knowledge as fast as you want or as long as you want to go. I love that flexibility. I spoke to the Ministry of Higher Education in Cameroon. They bought into the idea, and that is why all our vice chancellors are people that got their PhDs from the United States. Started with Professor Chumbo, who went to Indiana, Professor Anyambod, who went to Boston University, and now the great Professor Jean-Emmanuel Pondi, who went to Penn State University. Um, but we don't teach just American curriculum. What we you when you read about ICT university, we say an American curriculum-based university, but bringing it within the realities of Africa. So we modify the programs to suit uh, the, the needs of the context of Africa. An example is our business management program. It's not just coming to learn business management; it's business management and sustainability. And all our programs are heavily hands-on. 1 hour theory, our 3 credit hour course, 1 hour theory, 2 hours practical. Why do we do that? So students, when they leave, they should not go looking for jobs as their first step. They should create their businesses. That's why a good number, a good percentage of ICT university students don't dream of looking for jobs from someone. They create their own businesses and they are so rich. Many of them have done their own very, very lucrative businesses. I'm so proud of them. So the hands-on aspect is to the level that you don't even see in the average American university, that where a lot of theory is taught. You cannot do marketing at ICT University by just coming and say marketing means this, sales means this. You no, you should be able to create an e-commerce website like Alibaba, to be able to sell like an Amazon type website, to be able to market something, as opposed to just saying, "Oh, I have a degree in marketing." We impart, as our slogan go, imparting information technologies in all academic disciplines. So if you are doing theology, like we will be bringing some programs in theology in some few years to come, you will learn how to do theology and use information technologies in theology, religion, or whatever it is. So it's American curriculum in terms of its flexibility in completion time and so on, because you have young people that come to our university at the age of 16. You have older people that come to our university at the age of 65. We had a major counselor from Bengui who joined us and in his 60s. So such learners may want to take their time. They're not coming there to finish a degree to get a job, they're coming to improve themselves. So if they want to take 6 years to finish a bachelor's that takes 3 to 4 years, the American system allows them that. Or if our program is 4 years, if they want to take 3 years, they can take summer semesters and they finish in a shorter time. That is where the flexibility in the US system comes in. Yes, yes, yeah, yes. Yeah, the ICE University Foundation is registered in Louisiana. Let me clarify that. And that's the funding organ and the organ that designs curriculum and things like that for the university. But yeah, we're headquartered in Yaoundé. Um, First of all, you have to realize that we have a presence in Nigeria, in Uganda, and some other countries. So, first of all, I wanted it to be in my home country because God had a reason why I was born there, right? So, it's part of that, my pride to see that. Oh, and to see people living different parts of the world to come for graduation in Cameroon. That brings tears to my eyes because we have been used to seeing people leaving Cameroon to go other places to go get an education. But people now come to Cameroon. As a proud Cameroonian, I love that. But yeah, I grew up in Yaoundé. I was born in Boya at the age of 2. My parents took me on my first flight from Tico to Yaoundé, and I've lived for most of my life in Yaoundé, and that is much of what I know. And it's a shame to say this, but I would love to know um, my part of the country more as time comes from the northwest region. Um, Most of my friends are friends from Yaoundé, and and that's why I relate a lot to Yaoundé. Uh, yeah, yeah. Hmm. Yes, it's privately owned. Yes. Um, no, 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 no. Um, you know, for much of what I do not subscribe to the idea of shareholders because I I want to focus on quality and not money making. The problem when you bring in shareholders, typically the focus is money. Education is not an area to come to make money. There are other ways to make money. We have major uh, consultancies and service deliveries with many, several governments in Africa, um, and other parts of the world. But when you bring in shareholders, they feel like the university is somewhere to come and churn money and improve their lives. And if you do that, which some universities do, by the way, many private universities in Africa, unfortunately, are really there for money making, and their infrastructure. You see, the infrastructure there is just horrible, and so on. Um, no good labs, and so on. But I can tell you one thing, and I'm not being arrogant. Hardly anybody that has been on ICT University campus can show us another university in much of sub-Saharan Africa of that quality. Definitely, hardly any in Cameroon that are of that standard in terms of infrastructure. Because we want to give we want to give our folks in Cameroon the same or even higher than they will get in other parts of the world. And we are the only institution that answers to both the Cameroon government and the accreditation agency in the United States because we are members of one of the major accreditation agencies that report to the US Department of Education. The only, because, yeah, Cameroon has good standards, but we told ourselves, you know what? Let's be held accountable even beyond Cameroon. That's why we did that. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, that's the difficult part in all what I do because I really started young and I really want to encourage young people to be involved in things we do at the university. By the way, majority of our support staff members are less than 30 years old. Okay. Yeah, quite a number of our lecturers with PhDs are below 35 years old. So we bring young blood to be able to this age of technology is not just about, oh, I've been a professor for 30 years. You must know hands-on stuff. It's no, we don't have those things anymore. So the board has would I say much more mature people, older people for one reason, because we need to stay accountable, right? So that's why we have the who is who around the world on our board of trustees. So they hold us accountable. These are people who would not want their name, their reputations to be messed up. They would not allow us to do any kind of rubbish. You go to many, many universities, their boards are made up of family members or members from their tribe. Utter nonsense. It's typically the way things operate in much of Africa, and we need to change that. Um, I did not even know what tribes some of our top people came from. Yeah, actually, it's social media that started drawing my attention. That wait a minute, why are you not giving those positions to people from your tribe or your region? And I did not grow up with that mentality. So our board members, as well as our top administrators, are really, really people that have proven themselves, and they don't have to be members of our board to have a name. So we need them more than they need us, and I like it that way because then they can hold me as Victor accountable. Yeah, it's our consulting unit is doing extremely well, and I'm very, very proud of that. Of course, we've been existing for 12 years, so it took time. Um, ICT University does not rely on its tuition to make money. The larger part of what we rely on are the business consulting projects, the service delivery projects that we have with different governments around Africa, and um, it's been very good. I hope you know some specific numbers, but it's been good. I don't want to be the typical sorry person. Oh no, things are hard. In our attitude, we have to say things are hard, so people should ask us for money, right? Yes. First of all, before everybody started talking about e-learning and making all the noise post-COVID, telemedicine, we published works on telemedicine 19 years ago. We published works on e-learning, this using information technologies 19 years ago. They are all there. If you type my name on Google Scholar, you will see those publications are there. That's a good thing because Google does not lie. So we have made our mark in research in this domain. I remember when I started doing research on technologies for Africa, along with some of my colleagues that are now at ICTU, we submitted a paper for publication. And in that paper, we wrote the name Eritrea, the country Eritrea. And an ignorant reviewer wrote back and said, "What is Eritrea? Is that some kind of food?" So from the very beginning, we had to educate the world about why information technology is important for Africa. One reviewer just blasted our paper and said, Africa does not need technology. People are starving. They don't have food. They don't have roads. They don't have water. We should focus on that and forget telling people about information technology. Now we've proven them wrong, that Africa is a major, major factor, major contributor to information technology growth. We have, where do I start? Our students have won all kinds of awards in terms of innovative things, building robots, building smart cities. um, building like one young lady from Zangtabi built a bra called IntelliBra. IntelliBra that helps, a bra that can help detect cancer, breast cancer on women. I mean, there's so many real things. Our students went for competitions with students from Canada, Switzerland, and came out first from Cameroon with kids that had been playing with computers from the day they were born. And they won the competitions. All those things are in public domain. All those things have been published in public domain. Okay. So we have nothing to envy with America, England, France, or all these big name countries. Our students are doing wonderful, creative, and innovative things and putting them in the market. And that's why I personally committed $1 million for the next 5 years to invest in students' innovative projects to bring them to the market, to actually get them, you know, become businesses that will be co-owned by ICT University and the students. Now, I say this very important because I know very soon there will be rumors out there that Professor Barika is using students' knowledge to build his businesses. No problem. I have no problem with that. I have no shame to make money. I'll make it. It's somebody's choice to come and take my money and use it, but we co-own the business. And we encourage our students to do that. We also invite the other investors to come in, work with these students, bring in funding, not to give the students, but to build the students' ideas and bring them to the market. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. Oh, thank you, my dear brother. Talking about that, first of all, Cameroonians are so negative about their country. Cameroon is not bad. I mean, when you hear Cameroonians, especially abroad, talk about Cameroon, you wonder, is it the same Cameroon? I go to Cameroon every 2 to 3 months. It's a wonderful country with extremely hardworking people. People that just are just looking for a wage, not even a salary to feed their families. Now, is there a lot of corruption among people? Yes, there is. But where is that lacking? It's all over the world. But why are people corrupt? If you have a driver and your driver is, you know how they work people in Cameroon. A driver can drive for 16 hours in a day and you are paying him 50,000 a month. Now, I'm not encouraging stealing, but I understand why they would steal from the patron, from their boss. You need to compensate people fairly to reduce. You will not stop it, but to at least reduce the stealing. You cannot stop. There's the I can say if there's any challenge, it's controlling theft, but you have to find a way to figure out that theft in as part of business expense. It's almost impossible to stop it. Um, so it's kind of a problem, and not a problem that cannot be handled for you to run your businesses smoothly. I mean, um, you it's tough. Like you can even say for every contract that you need three proposals before that. So somebody will go and create three companies and bring in proposals, and they work for you, and they are taking it to one of their businesses, looking at conflict of interest. Um, but the beautiful thing is we have had amazing governmental support by the Cameroon government, and I'm always thankful for that. Um, because sometimes you can have individuals, not the top government officials, but individuals working in government offices also that could have some level of corruption. But not only that, would deliberately go against you to slow you down for no reason. It could just be that why are you having all these successes? Yeah. But more recently, I learned it could just be that you come from a part of Cameroon where you don't come from their village, right? And so you are a competitor with someone from their village, so they would frustrate you and try to make your life difficult. But to give credit to the Cameroon government, every time that has happened, I've reported it, and phone calls have been made to clear the situation every single time. There's not been one time I've reported something to top officials in the Cameroon government that they've not reacted. In fact, with anger, because the Cameroon government is really open to having diasporans come in and do business. I am really serious about this. I am not a member of government. The government of Cameroon does not pay me. So I'm not trying to sell the image of the Cameroon government. I am talking about my own experience. I registered ICT University through the Ministry of Higher Education. This is the truth. Professor Chumbo was helping with the registration. Not one person asked us for a bribe. That's the truth. Not one person asked us for a bribe at any point. So some Cameroonians would want me to come and say, oh my goodness, they asked me for millions in order to start ICT. I cannot come and lie that. Nobody did. So there are challenges, but they are not those challenges that one cannot manage. Okay. You can mitigate those challenges, in one way or another. And just keep in mind, your problem is not going to be government. Your problem is actually going to be if you go around recruiting those your cousins and your relatives, they are the number one people that will steal so much from you. Go and get competent people. Don't go looking for your relatives and only your village people. In Cameroon, doing business, the problem is not a government. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I like the way you say short question, short answer. You know, we professors, we may not make a lot of money, but we talk too much. I will keep it short. I will. Yes. ICT University is an American curriculum-based university with the goal of building the next generation of business owners in every discipline in which IT is used as a tool. There's the Almighty God. There is my dad, Mr. George Barika, then me, Victor Barika, uh, born and raised in Cameroon, but lived most of my life in the United States. I've lived more than half my life in the United States. And I love Jesus. I believe in God and family. Um, and I don't know if I would say I work hard, but I used to work really hard in my earlier days coming up. So by God's grace, now I don't have to work as hard as I used to. And I trust them. I really delegate and I trust them. I trust that I have quite a number of trusted people around me. I became a Christian. I believed in Christ at the age of 16, started the Cameroon Youth for Jesus ministry, and ICT University was more like the higher education aspect of my ministry. And I look at it as a ministry. There were so many Africans that wanted to do degree programs but wanted to do it online. So we were able to open both the online and the on campus part of ICT University to serve both needs for people that can come on campus or people that just want to study online. And we have one of the most powerful online learning systems. When during COVID, when universities were closed, we stayed open because of our strong presence online. I want to start with my mentor, Professor Terry Bird, who mentored me through my PhD, and to this day, he's still my mentor. I love him so much, him and his wife. They have been wonderful mentors to me. Um, then our three original vice chancellors, Professor Chumbo, Professor Anyambod, and Professor Jean-Emmanuel Pondi, who, oh my goodness, they are like fathers to me, big brothers to me, that have mentored me also in how to run a university in the context of Cameroon. And so those are some of my personal assistants that are very close to me, etc. My family. Um, yeah. The big ones are Cameroon, Nigeria, and Uganda, but we do have a presence in places like Ghana, Namibia, India, where we ran a huge digital literacy program under then Governor Chief Minister Modi, who is now the Prime Minister of India. Um, yeah, we have a presence mostly in the developing world, which is where our focus is. Um, there are not challenges that cannot be easily overcome. It's mostly dealing with human beings, right? Some could be very dishonest. Some would steal from you, and you find a way to still work with them. If you have to fire everyone that steals from you, you will end up hardly having anyone to work for you. Um, and then sometimes you have some people working in government services that try to slow you down. But the good thing is the top government authorities will always intervene on my behalf to set them back, put them back in line. So we've had great, tremendous support from the governments we have dealt with. Oh, so many, so many. We have students that have developed robots and won prizes up to being received by the French presidency. We have a student that developed what is called an IntelliBra that when women wear it can help them detect cancer. We have so many different apps students have developed in many different domains that are used all over the world today. Most of our students graduate not looking for jobs; they graduate creating their own companies and creating jobs. To me, that's probably one of the best innovative things we have because none of our student graduates without being strongly grounded in entrepreneurship. We don't just talk it, we live it and we put our money in it. We hold ourselves extremely accountable. For example, our accreditation is with the Cameroon government, but we are equally members of a US accreditation body. Because not all US accreditation bodies are linked with the US Department of Education. Be very careful, but with one of the few that are recognized by the US Department of Education. So we are answerable literally to the Cameroon government and to the American government. So we hold ourselves accountable just by that to keep our quality high up. Number two, we are a very hands-on institution. If a course is 3 hours, 2 hours is spent practically hands-on. 1 hour is for theory. We don't believe in this whole thing of too much theory. So those are some strong areas that we have. And in Cameroon, we are probably the only institution where students do an evaluation of their lecturers, just like we do in America, every semester. So the students grade their lecturers. So they hold their lecturers accountable. If there is anything you and your fans can get out of this program, is to me my Christian faith, my belief in God, my relationship with Christ is my everything, my everything, my everything. I say this in all seriousness. Is everything I am today is due to that relationship. And even when I I I, I go, I have some difficulties, I always come back to that. That's my everything.